Hey guys, it's been a while. This is GWS uploading. We're going to be talking about AI, and this is going to be an introduction to comparing several of the major big AIs out there. There's like a billion others, there's some smaller ones, and we'll go over some that I'm not going to be using. Well, one that I won't be using that I also kind of like, but I can't afford the premium plans for all of them. So we're going to be comparing the big ones. We're going to be comparing ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. And the awesome thing is all three of these models are trained differently on different data, and they have different little perks. So you're going to find uses for all of them. And honestly, if I were to make a recommendation, if you could afford it, I would get the upgrades to really all three of those. Now, before we get fully into this, I'd like to kind of give Claude an honorable mention because Claude does has done a good job for me with a handful of things. It's supposed to be really good with coding. If you look at Ella Marina, it's like near the top in terms of co-pilots and coding, web coding, all of that. Your other major ones are still up there. The problem I've always had with Claude, and I guess they're trying to fix it because if you look at some of their stuff, they got a lot of different tools you can add here. And honestly, this might be more tools than you can use with both Google. Well, not necessarily ChatGPT because ChatGPT has plugins. They have plugins, and then they have actions, which you can basically load a schema into GPT, and that's a real advantage there. And as much of a hater I am of Sam Altman in general, not to get too much into politics here, but yeah, I'm a hater. I was a doubter of ChatGPT. It was not good at first, and that wasn't just because of my opinion on him, but they've all gotten good. And honestly, I'd have to say, you know, spoilers, I think ChatGPT is slightly better at more things, but we'll get into everything. But this is kind of what Claude has, and this is interesting. I guess you have to update grade to get these extensions, and ChatGPT has something similar. We'll get into that too. But it can actually control your browser, and it can control your applications in general. Yeah, I don't know how in depth this agent mode goes, but I just wanted to kind of just show what Claude's doing because I was curious at what Claude was doing, and maybe if it'd be an option because this stuff updates by the month, and that's why I want to try to post regularly on the advancements of AI um, to see, and like it's gonna be different every time. And then there's another one here. Let's actually go to it. This will be kind of like you have DeepSeek too. I'm sure a handful of people probably heard of it. I believe you click on this one, and DeepSeek. It's good for certain things. I know when I was dealing with mods in Minecraft, none of them did particularly well, but DeepSeek did better than any of them. In term, like Claude, in terms of co-pilots, web development, those two are near the top in Ella Marina. And so, this is another one you can take advantage of. And the cool thing about DeepSeek is it's free and it's very fast. And I think in terms of just getting you the information you need, um, like just being direct, DeepSeek's probably better than any of them. A lot of the problem with DeepSeek, and you'll see this with all, like, some of them more or less, like Claude and ChatGPT are really bad with it. Um, Basically, curation, censorship, it's going to flag a lot of stuff. But, I used DeepSeek for 2 months regarding coding when I was doing, I was, I tried to dabble into my own image creation on my PC, and DeepSeek really helped me with that. It really helped me understand all the different frameworks, the transformers, basically the structure. So I was good with that. So there's DeepSeek. So that's Claude. We're not going to get really into these. I just want to focus on the three because I will be um, getting subscriptions to all of them. I might even get into my next video today or tomorrow. And we're going to be doing tasks. We'll get into that. But yeah. Um, so, on this one, I just want to, in general, get into what I think are the strengths and weaknesses of each of your LLMs, your language models. Um, get into the pricing, get into like what you get. Um, I'm not going to go into, like if you go to here to upgrade, well, it doesn't show it here. Oh, wait, here. Okay, here we go. We can go view plans. As you can see, there's a, they're going to cut it down for me, but normally it's $250 a month. Grok has one for $300 a month, and I believe ChatGPT has one that's very similar price. You got these mega pricing ones. I'm not doing that, right? you know, I, you know, I'm a poor folk. I can't do all that, so we're just gonna stick with the Pro. Um, and so I'll be getting that, but it's $20 a month. Um, and what you get is you get your app, you get access to all this different stuff. Flow is basically AI video making, but it's like more of a suite. Whisk is kind of like you're combining images to make new images, backgrounds and stuff. Maybe someday we'll get into the specifics of these. You get monthly credits, and this system I've never liked because the credits don't go very far, and that goes on any of them. Notebook LM, um, I haven't seen anything useful about it that's different than the regular model that you could use because you have a research mode on Gemini as well. And then the other ones do research too, but it's simpler. Um, and this is probably the strength right here. Is that you get with Gemini, you get connections to YouTube, you get connections to Maps, you get connections to Google Docs, and like you could do all kinds of things. Like I've used it to create fun little mini games of like where it'll zoom in on a Google Maps and you got to find your way to like some other location. Like GeoGuessr type shit, basically. Um, but yeah, that's the strength of Gemini. And Gemini, another. Well, we'll get into that later. But you get 2 terabytes of storage. That doesn't. I've never come close to that storage limit, and you get. I guess this is a separate thing. I've never used this Jules thing. I don't know anything about what that is. But we'll talk about coding in general. But this is what you get with Gemini. So you go to ChatGPT here. Let's see. Okay, we can upgrade plan. It should show. Yeah, it shows what I have. Um, so here's the person. As you can see, this is $200 a month for their big access plan. Um, oh, and I should mention one more thing about Gemini, real quick. Gemini, if you look up the AI generated videos on Gemini with VO3, um, which they don't give you a lot of VO3, even with the even if you get the subscription, you're not gonna get more than you might get like 50 10-second videos in a month or something. You're not gonna get a whole, and that goes quick when you're trying to generate multiple iterations of a thing to get it right. But VO3 is by far um like the best in terms of video making, and you get that with Gemini with the with your credits. But anyhow, GPT-2, what you get with your $10 plan, you get GPT-5 with you get all your and the cool thing about this is you don't have these credit limits. And with Gemini you really don't either, but ChatGPT you won't artificially run out, or I haven't ever hit a limit. Like where you got to wait a couple hours, because sometimes with Gemini, if you're doing a lot of token heavy things, like you're really asking, you're really getting into deep conversations with it. It'll rate limit you. It'll knock you off, and you have to wait like a couple hours or something. Actually, I think you gotta wait. Um, well, yeah, with Gemini, it's just a few hours. I think with Grok, you gotta wait, but we'll get into that. But anyhow, um, let's see, expanded messaging and uploads. And they let you upload huge ass files with this too. Like this, they don't really limit you. And then you get expanded and faster image creation, expanded memory and context, expanded deep research and agent mode. Agent mode's kind of fun. Um, you don't get a whole lot of it, but agent mode will go wild if you ask it to do something. And probably that'll be its own video. But what agent mode will do is, like, you ask it to do something, it will literally open up its own operating system, and it has its own set of applications, and it will download its own applications too to do what you're asking it to do. Like if you ask it to create an image for you, like it will go into Photoshop or some free version, and it will draw an image for you. Now it may not be good. I don't know. I've never tried to use it for that, but you can use it for. It will go in and physically do something for you, and then it will give you something where you could download. It'll go into your GitHub and it will organize your stuff. Agent mode does so much. It's an extremely useful thing. You only get 30 of them in a month, 30 uses of it, but if you can find an extremely good use for it, that is powerful. And then deep research. I've never used the deep research, so I can't say if it's good or bad in ChatGPT. I've used it on Gemini. And Gemini's was hit or miss. It would hallucinate a lot when doing research. I don't know if ChatGPT has that problem. But there's that, yeah, and I think you get 24 of those per month. And then you get project tasks custom GPTs. So basically, you could just schedule it to do certain things, and then the custom GPT. Pretty much your tasks in your custom GPTs aren't a whole lot different from one another. The only difference is with your GPTs, if you could connect to another site's API and then you can have it generate JSON in order to interact with that. And you just, like, they got something called actions within it, and then you upload what's called a schema, which is just like a JSON object or a collection of JSON objects, and you just put it in there. And it'll interact with different websites and stuff and perform different actions that you allow it to. So that's nice. You got Sora video generation. Now that's fun as hell. And the cool thing about Sora is, I hope I don't get uncensored here. We'll just look at, to be safe, we'll look at top, and then we'll look at all time. Because, Sora, you can look at other people's things here. And as you can see, people create some weird things. And then you can even search for stuff that you'd want too. Like, let's see, where's the search bar? I know there's a search. I think, yeah, here we go. So, like, if you want to find, like images people created of, like, Mario, for example. And you'll see, like, some of these are nonsense. But, yeah, a lot of these are just images, too. Sora does images and video. But what it'll do is, here's your interface here, and then, it's got your standard controls, your standard stuff. But the two good things about Sora are you could look up your own stuff and just see what other people are making. You really don't get a whole lot of that with Grok or Gemini. Like, you just generate something. Or if there's a way, I don't know. Like, you just see some of these things, they're weird, but they're cool as hell. Like, just what people think of. Yeah, I like that one. That's funny. Okay, we're still recording. I just want to make sure we're good on our recording. Yeah, people just come up with some weird ass shit, and that's fine. Like, look at this. Like, even the nonsense. You could go through here for hours. And yeah, this is what you get, and you can create your own. And I'm not going to go through mine for various reasons, but you get unlimited of that, which is nice. I've never run into a limit, if you can, anyhow. But, yeah, you get that. Let's see, you also get a codex agent, which I don't know what codex is. Yeah, oh, I think I understand. Yeah, codex is, if we go back here, it's stuff to do with, it's, I guess it's kind of like the dedicated Gemini agent. Here's a couple things I did with it. Let's see, this is going to be live. Oh, I guess I never did. No, I never did interact with this, did I? Oh, this is where you could probably get it to, like, put, like, code something and then put it on your GitHub. Like, here's something I connected with my GitHub. They'll let you connect a handful of things here. But, you get that. I've never used it. I don't know specifically. We'll get into all that later on. Like, we got time. But, you know, and here's all the models you get with your ChatGPT. Like Pro, obviously, I don't get. I'm not paying $200. And then you get all your legacy models, which I guess these are still better for certain tasks. But I find, like, if you go 5 thinking, GPT 5 thinking, um, that does the trick for me for about everything. Now, some people have complaints about GPT 5, but, um, you know, here's something I made with it, and, it's not going to resonate with you right now because, but maybe I'll get into this. But, I made, um, I made a node-based economics simulator with it. This is what I made with that. Um, it's not much yet, but I made this in 2 days where, um, you got an interface here. You can create different nodes, and then you can create different relationships between nodes. You can customize their values. It's got a nice, clean interface. Um, you can add relationships between nodes like this. I can't drag and drop nodes yet, but there's still other stuff I gotta add. But, um, and then you could step through the simulation. Here, I haven't put any values, so I can't, it's not gonna do anything. But the point is, I made a time-based economic simulation where I can add my own nodes and I can add relationships to things, and there's still stuff I gotta add to it. But the point I'm making is, um, I was able to do this. This is probably 1,500 lines of code. It's over 1,000. It's probably maybe like 11 or 1,200. But the point is this does really well, and it does really well with mathematical notation, as you can see here. Um, I use this to generate an equation, kind of fooling people into thinking I was going x squared, but in reality, like, I was trying to explain to people how you can get, how you can like have a pattern. For example, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Predict the next number. You're thinking x squared, right? But no, you actually have this little equation, and you could use this. You could plug any number in here. You could plug 5 in here, and then it'll stop at 25, go back down to 0, and then it'll go back up. Um, and then it even explain, another way to do it as well. Like if you want to do a piecewise equation, but I just wanted the standard equation, and I ended up with this simple thing. You could generate about any equation with this instead of having to rack your brain to think of like how to create a curve that does this and goes through these points, etc. Um, but yeah, anyhow, yeah, that's what thinking will do. And you can put it to auto too, like the instant. It's done a well enough job. Um, the 4.0, like the legacy models aren't good for. They do well in LM Arena, but when I've used them, I haven't seen where they've done any better. Um, but yeah, that's ChatGPT. I go over this more because this is the one I've been using recently. It's not necessarily the best at everything. ChatGPT, I think, explains things well. Well, I would say Claude explains things the best. Um, like, say the best way I could put GPT is it's got probably the best reasoning. Um, the best reasoning, and It's probably a little bit better at code than Gemini, though not much. Um, and yet Gemini is better for the connectivity with Google. Um, like here's let's see what connectors we have. There's some here on ChatGPT. You could connect to your Google Drive or your Google Calendar, Canva. A lot of this is just going to be like your cloud, your email, but it's not gonna like connect to Maps, or it doesn't seem like it connects to Bing. Although I think I've seen where it'll give you Bing results, but um, yeah, Google has much better connectivity. Schedules I haven't tried um, yet. Um, Data controls is probably about equal. GitHub is nice to have on here, but I think you can do GitHub on all of them. But yeah, that's what you're going to get with GPT. And like I said, I won't lie, I'll slightly recommend, if you're going to get one, probably ChatGPT. Um, but Grok has some things too, and we're going to look into that. Now, I haven't tried Super Grok in about a month, which is their latest, so it's not so fair for me to say that GPT completely outperforms it. Um, but yeah, we'll go to the um, upgrades and we'll just see what we get. Now it's a little more expensive, $30, and then you got Super Grok Heavy, which is 300. So more in line with Gemini in that one. Gemini's 250, so this is actually more expensive. Um, but you get Grok 4, increased access to Grok 3. You get a lot of Grok 3. You really won't. I've occasionally run out when I've used it heavily, and that's one of the Oh, okay. I didn't want to pay annually, but yeah, you'll occasionally run out. You may have to wait. Well, you actually got to wait till um, I believe it's 8 o'clock Eastern time or something like that before your usage gets reset, which really sucks. Because I'm pretty sure with Gemini, or when I used it, it was you could get locked out for like a couple hours. On this, you just get locked out for the rest of the day. You use it too much. Um, but here's one advantage to Super Grok right here. You get your extended memory, 128,000 tokens, which does the trick. I've always found that more context doesn't always mean better because you know but that's another conversation entirely. But yeah, you get that. Um, Grok 4 is fairly good at reasoning, though not on the level of GPT-5. The last I've used it. Priority voice access. This is one of the strongest points. Um, Basically, you get all kinds of voices. All kinds of you get and you get quite a bit of that's where you'll run out of your tokens because I think the voice uses a bunch. But from what I've used, this has the best voice model there is. You could pretty much converse totally by voice, which I don't know if you could do that with GPT or not. I don't do the voice models that much. Um, and I guess you get companions with a $30 one. I don't know what this is. Um, like Annie and Valentine. I don't. I don't know if I want to know, but um, and then everything in basic. Um, So you get your projects and your tasks, which are basically your GPTs and your tasks from all the other ones. You know, the tasks. I know when I gave it tasks, it didn't like it wasn't really producing what I expected. I didn't really. I probably needed to prompt it better, but um, not a whole lot of experience with that. But I will say, a couple things about Grok. Number one is it's probably if you don't want to bump into constant censorship issues, um, this is probably the one you want to use. Now it's still going to censor you on some stuff, and it's still going to um, like give you the whole shtick about how it's an AI, it doesn't want to be harmful or whatever, like alignment statement that it's trying to make when it hits a filter. But you really gotta go out of your way to hit that filter compared to the others, especially ChatGPT. So if you want less censorship, this will be the one to use. Um, so here's your voices. We can go over these. Well, here's it's got different modes here. Like you have your voices. It's got 5 different voices. And I wish I could turn off my mic for a second. In fact, we will.
Oh, I
Um,
see. You can usually mute your microphone through.
okay, so we're not gonna do that. Hang on. Let's go to voice. But let's. Okay, we'll mute just so I can go over this. You can change a lot about it. Like they got all these different kinds of um, they got a custom on here. What's this do? Oh, it just gives instruction. Um, okay, so I never did know what the blue magnifying glass means on it. But anyhow, does it just mean new? Oh, I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, you have all these different modes which will act different ways. And you know, when it says it'll go unhinged, like it will go unhinged. Like the thing pulls no punches. Like it has, it gives no fucks basically. Excuse my French, but that's just the best way to describe it. And then you got your 5 different voices here, and then you have your cadences here. And this is the best one out of all of them. Um, and so there's your voices. And then you have this, and this is interesting. This just came out the last couple days. So basically, what you could do here, and I could demonstrate this. This is so fast. So let's go with our example. Let's go with Mario. Let's go with Mario in a suit. Okay, let's. And then we'll see. This is kind of being slow. Yeah, I don't know why this is being slow. Is it servers might be congested? But normally, what'll happen? I may have to just describe it. Um, let me let's see if I can refresh. Okay, so let's go yeet homework, right? So let's just say this isn't gonna describe it though. I wonder if it's running into copyright. Okay, let's just go man in this suit. But let's just go back entirely. I'll get this eventually. If I don't, we'll just describe it. I might just have to describe it I don't know why this is not working on this browser, but anyhow, what'll normally happen is you'll get a bunch of images, like of your prompt, and usually they're fast. Um, and then what you can do off of that is you can type in another prompt. So let's just say you type in Mario jumping. And so you normally have images under here, under Mario in a suit, and then Mario jumping. And then what it'll do is it'll take this and then combine it with this. Um, and then, like, I think the further down you get, the more it'll focus on this prompt over this. And so it kind of like it transitions from one prompt to another prompt. You could type in another prompt here, like so you can do something like that, like Mario pumping his fist up in the air, Mario in a suit, Mario jumping, and then you get that, and then you kind of get these combinations of prompts, and it'll automatically generate the text for the prompt. And then what you can do is you can take any one of these and make a short video out of it, and it will use the video prompt for that. And then what you can further do um, is, I can demonstrate that with something. Let's go back here. I guess we gotta click back, don't we? Yeah, we go back here. Um, so you click on one of the images. Like, let's just imagine this is Mario jumping with his fist pump, like the three prompts we entered. You get that you click on the thing that you want that like most closely resembles what you're looking for. Um, and then you can kind of look here, and it will base all of this on what you clicked on, and it will like zero in on exactly what you're looking for. And then on any one of these, you can click to make a video. And see, it made this video right here. But what you can do is, normally, I don't know why it's not letting me do it, but you can redo it, and then you can redo it in a different style, spicy, fun, or normal. Um, and they did have a custom option. Maybe they removed it. Maybe people were abusing it. But normally you'd have a custom option here too. And what you'd be able to do is like enter whatever prompt you want into this particular video. So um, I think you could get more realistic stuff with Sora right here. Um, but in terms of just flexibility and speed, these things will generate videos fast. It's sad that I can't demonstrate it right here. Maybe I can. Let's just go normal. Let's see if it'll generate something. It doesn't look like it's going to play along. Yeah, it's at 0. Yeah, something's wrong with the site, or maybe with my browser, or maybe it doesn't like me recording. But either way, like this will generate fast, and this just came out the last couple days too. It's still a very early access feature, so this is actually going to be a really neat feature for Grok. And I don't know if it makes it better than Sora, because Sora, you get this right here, and you can just spend a lot of time looking at what other people have created. And yeah, it's going to generate like nonsense. Like, that's part of kind of the weakness of Sora's videos, is they are a lot of nonsense. It's hard to fully create something. Here's a good one right here. But well, now until the end, he basically broke his neck at the end. But anyhow, um, and then let's see. Did we go through all the updates? Or all the upgrades? I think we did. Um, and so what else to say about Super Grok? There's not really a lot else. Like I think it's um in terms of, I guess one thing I can kind of go over is image and video generation quality. I touched on it earlier, but I guess I could go into all of it with these. With Grok, um, a lot of its images are, I find, a little bit like generic, and they don't. It plays it safe when it comes to prompting. It's not gonna like generate exactly what you're looking for. Um, Gemini is really, um, I'd say it's slightly lower quality looking images, um, but they follow your prompts a lot better. Um, I'd say, well, with Grok, I will say one thing that's better: the lighting's better on the images. Let's see if I can come up with something actually. Um, we'll do a comparison. Let's do it. Let's do one comparison. Um, I don't have the upgrade to Grok yet, so we're just gonna work with this here. Let's see. We'll just generate something generic like this, and I'll see if I'm right, because I think Grok has better lighting, but I don't always like, yeah, see, like, yeah, this is really good lighting. Like, it's got the glow here. Um, maybe this part of the wing shouldn't be lit, but this one's kind of good. Like, um, but you see, like, the lighting is, if nothing else, pretty beautiful. Um, like even if the image is a little bit generic. So now let's take the same image and let's go to um, Gemini, and let's try to generate an image. We're going to compare. I just want to see which is better, because we can do that real quick. And while we're loading this, okay, here's that. This is not nearly as good. Um, it's Yeah, there's not really any part of it that's as good. Maybe we can try again. But that did not. But maybe I can kind of show too, like how it follows instructions a little bit better. This is just a simple request, so this is doing fine. In fact, this is actually beautiful right there. This one's a little better right here. It's not great. Um, it's a little bit different of a, maybe you can call this ocean, or like kind of fog, or another cloud layer. But this is okay. I mean, it's passable. It's not as good as Grok though. And then you go to ChatGPT. One thing that's kind of cool about ChatGPT is you can explicitly tell it to create an image. Um, so Instead of just saying image of a flying dragon, you just put image here, and it'll flag it that you want to generate an image. So this is 5 thinking. I don't. Yeah, I think it's this um, uses GPT image 1. So I don't think it matters which model you use. It's just gonna prompt it differently. These take much longer. That's one thing to consider. I've never run into any limitations with image generation in here though. Like Grok, you will. Um, Gemini, you eventually will, though it takes a long time. Um, yeah, these take a long time to generate. They're very high quality though. Like by far the highest, like in terms of just um like your resolution and like the detail, and you're kind of starting to see it here. Like this is like, so let's wait on this. And yeah, you could just see, like, yeah, if you zoom in on everything here, which it won't let me do unless I open it in a different tab. Yeah, you can, like, yeah, this thing looks good even when you zoom in on it. You can see, you know, I guess this is supposed to be like sparks or something behind the dragon, but you can see, like, the amazing lighting right here. Yeah, these are very high quality. Like, the dragon has a lot more detail, even than Grok. Um, and Grok's looked good, but nothing, nothing like this. These are beautiful images. Um, and it'll generate one thing about GPT as well. It'll generate some realistic scenarios for you in terms of images. Like the only disadvantage to it is it takes a while. But I want to find something that kind of does Gemini justice, because from my experience, Gemini is much better at following instructions. So let me kind of think of a scenario here. Okay. Oh yeah, I got one right here. So this is one that I actually tried to prompt in Sora, and Sora did not do a good job with this one. So I want to see how the major image model does with this. So we're gonna say in tomorrow. Okay, so this is a very specific thing. Oh wait, okay, I forgot to add. Let's go represented in Minecraft. Let's see. This is a very detailed thing. Honestly, none of them might get this, but we're gonna see. First, we'll do Gemini. I just want to see how they all do with this. Oh wait, I spelled Chrono wrong. So let me redo this. Chrono is spelled Crono. Okay, image or chrono. So let's do that. And then we'll copy this one instead. So let's see. Not bad. That is not bad at all. Here's that doesn't show the fairgrounds, but it's much better than what Sora did. So let me just explain the scene. So let's just look it up actually. So let's see. See if we can find. Okay, yeah, this is it right here. So if I can get an image. Excuse me, let me look for this here. Um, it's not. It's giving me everything but that. Um, I'd like to find something that shows it correctly. Um, but okay, this is about the only thing. So let me see if I could zoom in on this. Open link. Okay, we'll open the image in a new tab, and then this is the image right here. Um, like from here to here, like this is what it's supposed to be. And what this is, here's Lean's bell, and then they bump into each other. And then this is where the two meet. This is from a game called Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. And I was asking it to, of course, represent it in Minecraft graphics. And it didn't really land Lean's bell that well, but it understood, unlike Sora, exactly what I was going for. So let's see how Grok does. This is Grok. So let's go back, and then we will do this. Um, I guess we'll try expert mode. Let's see if it'll. Let's see if it'll give me something better here in expert mode. Okay, so this sort of understood that as a fairground, but didn't give me the bell. And it didn't represent that much of Minecraft, except for this sort of. And none of these are Chronos. So as you can see, not a good job on Grok's part. Gemini did much better. Note that Gemini had the worst dragon, but much better representation of Minecraft graphics in a bell. So this is just one example where asking the AI to do different things, different ones will be better at different things. So that's why you want to be a little careful when you um, judge one LLM because they all do certain things. Every one of them has a thing that they do better than the others. Let me just put it that way. So we don't have to explicitly say image here, so we can prompt this better. Okay, in front of Lean's bell. Okay, represented by Minecraft graphics. So that's creating a Minecraft scene, so it understands that. So we'll spend a second here. And then I think we'll wrap this up because there's not a lot else I can get into. Um, and before we start getting into specific tasks. Okay, so it's starting to create it. Let's see. Oh, I think this might be the bell. Um, we got a fairground here, which is already better. It's kind of, well, it goes behind the wooden, so it's trying to keep some structural stuff. And actually, that is not bad. That is actually really good. Now it's got her in trousers. She got a dress, but that's about the only one of the only things wrong. Like it's got fairground stuff. The bell is proper size right here. Yeah, I'd say yeah, this did a really good job. This did better than Gemini, and Gemini did a good. Well, Gemini's is a little. I think it kind of leaned into the Minecraft aspect a little more. But even this is like you got these kind of stone blocks here in Minecraft. Um, this tried to remain faithful too, but this kind of had a really good balance. It understood what I was looking for. And even as they're helping him up, it has a sword in its sheath, so very, very detailed. And it's got the Minecraft one. It's got like if somebody were trying to LARP the fairgrounds and you had people at these different stalls, that actually worked out well. And you notice too, like, you know, the sun is aligned perfectly, all the lighting as well. Um, you know, this this did okay with lighting. I don't know what this is, but this is um Grok that doesn't do the trick. This doesn't have any shadow for whatever reason. But this is beautiful. So I guess I gotta change my opinion. This is just flat out better for more. Like I only generate specific kind of images usually. I've generated a couple like space themed ones, and this does a really good job. But yeah, and the best thing about GPT is you don't, like I said, you don't run into these limitations. Like I haven't seen, and I believe it's explicit too. Like you get unlimited image generation, you get unlimited access to your GPT-5. Um, you get unlimited access to Sora. And it's $20. So you know, but like I said, if you could afford all three of them, I'd get all three. If you use AI heavily, but if you're gonna get one, like ChatGPT does more things. But like it with anything, it just depends what you want to use it for. Um, anyhow, I just want to do the general introduction overview. I'm gonna be getting the cheap paid versions for Grok and for Gemini. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have a little bit of fun on this channel, re-uploading stuff. We're gonna have a full AI playlist. I'm going to test the AI with tasks that I specifically do. And you know, me specifically, I like coding little projects. I like um, I do small time gaming. I do Discord. I do politics. I look up current events. Um, I like creating and looking at random images. And I like doing research on stuff. And I like to just see what I can make. Or just like whatever content. I just generally like to brainstorm too. So we're going to be doing stuff similar to that. A lot of it's going to be code, Some of it'll be images. Um, you know, I'll do stuff on kind of like this on what types of images each model does better or video. But it's going to be a fun space. At least for me, it's going to be fun. I don't know who's going to view this, but if you're watching, you know, I am happy that you enjoy, and then you can leave a comment and suggest something to me for um, a task. I'll take that into consideration too. I know there's a couple people who like I don't upload often, but they'll still watch my videos after all these years. And I'm happy to retain the couple people that I do. And if I do get more, then I get more. If not, I'm still going to upload because this is the kind of stuff that I've been getting into. So I just figured, why not? Why not get into a series and actually, not just have thoughts to myself, but post them on a forum where I can get feedback or, people can yell in the comments or whatever, just go to town. But anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for listening. God bless, and I hope you have a good day.